Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, it's day 3 of Grand Party, and we're taking the Roger counter into some Grand Party with the new Shanks and Buggy. Now, with the release of this particular legend, came a very interesting GP burst that actually negates half stats. It removes it by 25 seconds whenever you use the burst, and the idea of their burst is literally to just pop it once Roger pops here. So in today's video, we're taking down 3 Roger teams. I had to do pre-recorded. I've been out at the movie seeing Spider-Verse 2, so I do apologize I couldn't do these live. I will do my next rounds tomorrow. But if you enjoyed the video, go down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button. If you guys love the 8 vs 8 stuff, you came to the right place, because we're always doing the 8 vs 8 fights over here. If you guys are using the rock, paper, scissors strat, or you're using the sweaty strats, let me know in the comment section below how your Grand Party's going, because as you can see, you only need 12 wins, and hopefully most people actually get there. But enjoy the video. Let's dive in and let's take a look at the fights. Alright, so fight number 1 is against Pokekun. And obviously they're running Roger as their leader. All the fights today are going to be up against Roger. They are using a Dex, a Psy, and an Int-based team. And the teams that we're actually rocking are a Slasher, a Free Spirit, and a Dex-based team. Now, I still don't love Psy. I still don't trust Psy. However, Psy does beat us in one of these fights and gets very, very close. It gets very, very shaky, actually. But I do prefer the Free Spirit team with Roger and Odin. Both of them are Psy. Both of them are Slashers. And with Zoro on the Free Spirit team, you actually have a very Slasher-centric core, which obviously Shanks and Buggy boost. Plus, Shanks and Buggy boost the Psy Slashers of Roger and Odin just that little bit more. But Free Spirit are still exceptionally powerful this particular season. They are doing really, really cool stuff, and they're still incredibly powerful, incredibly tanky, incredibly strong at taking down the opposition. So we are going to rock them in our lineup with a Slasher team and a Dex team. I think Dex is still incredibly strong, especially if you can just sort of negate a Roger burst. But it does struggle this season a lot against stuff like Psy and characters that can kind of halve your stats and stuff like that. So I think against Int, probably going to struggle a little bit too, but with Quick being so heavily boosted, the Dex team does work exceptionally well against that particular build. Plus, it can do some really, really cool stuff against stuff like Roger with the Luffy revive. So I do like to have them there. But let's take a look at how this fight's going. Free Spirit obviously getting a lot of defense from Sanji there. Buffing the cooldowns. We're on 20 defense, 45 attack, 18 HP. Luffy, Yamato are going to do absolute crazy stuff once we get into the last 50 seconds. And if we do see the Roger burst, we can basically just use Shanks and Buggy to negate it. Now, for this first fight, I do think that I get Roger burst at the back end when I pretty much already won. So I actually saved the Shanks Buggy burst. Now, Shanks Buggy's burst not only avoids half stats, but also does 2,000 fixed damage and gives level 10 down speed and defense to either Int or Psy. So that's something as well. So pretty nice stuff there. So Roger hits us with the half stats there. We're not overly scared though. Even with like some big damage shots coming in the back, we have enough specials, we have enough bulk to actually take down the rest of the team. And look, if we really need to, we can pop the burst, but at this particular point, we really just don't need to. So we're in a pretty good spot here. I think we lose a couple of units, and it gets a little bit closer than what we see here, but that's just the power of Roger's burst. Actually, no, it doesn't. We win here. Easy mode, sweet. So that was the first fight. Pretty good stuff. Free Spirit's getting it done fairly comfortably. Moving on to the second fight against Psy now. Now, Psy is still one of those teams that, like, if you fight it, it can, like, decimate you. If you use it, it can do absolutely, like, dog water. So, I'm not a big fan of using it myself, but look, I do know a lot of people are using it, and it's still floating around as it once was a very good team, and with the buff of Viva Rebecca and their level limit break, people are still rocking it there. However, Dex does work fairly nicely against it. Well, usually it works quite nicely against it. But like Slashers and Free Spirit tend to work a little bit nicer. Well, especially Slashers. Slashers seems to do a little bit nicer, but this team had Enel on it, so I didn't really want to risk my Slasher team there. I thought I'd keep my Slasher team for the back end, and I would just use Dex here. Without the Roger burst, Psy doesn't really scare me all that much either, as the Odin and Yamato effect works exceptionally well if you have one of the Roger bursts available. Now, they're going to get the burst straight away thanks to the Blackbeard special there. Blackbeard's HP cut gives them a lot of damage. Once their damage kicks in, we can then use Shanks and Buggy. That's going to literally remove the half stats, as you guys can see here. But against this particular team, it's also going to do the 2000 fixed damage, and it should have done like attack down and stuff like that. Maybe it's not against Sai. Maybe I'm bugging there. Maybe it's against like Int. Yeah, maybe it's against Int. I can't really remember, but it does something to particular class. We definitely see in this video. I do remember seeing it while I was doing these matches. But as you can see, without the burst, they lose a lot of damage. They can still get half stats though with Yamato, so they still have the availabilities of that. However, we just have enough firepower at this particular point to take them out. After sort of the first 40 seconds, Sai becomes incredibly squishy, and that's where, like, if you don't have Roger, I keep doing that, when Odin and Yamato popping off early and killing a bunch of units, then they're in for a really, really bad time once the second round of specials comes around. Plus, with Luffy and the revive and Dex's defense, like, usually no matter what, you will get that sort of second wind, and you will be okay with the majority of Dex teams per se. But first fight in the bag, fairly easy, nothing really too crazy. I think I used the burst here literally to try and wrap it up. Don't get the kill and still like, ah, damn. And then Dofi gets it anyway, so it is what it is. Beautiful. So first fight in the bag. Good stuff from Shanks and Buggy so far. On to the next fight. Alright, so the second fight is against, I believe that's some Korean text. And the first team is a Free Spirit team, second team is Dex, and the third team is Hidden. So, not sure what that last fight's going to be, but whenever I see Free Spirit, I do like to use my slashes against them. And then with Dex, we're just going to rock Free Spirits there, because I'm not a big fan of mirror matches. Mirror matches, never a smart move in Grand Party, because, like, rocking a 50-50 chance, it's not really the wave. The idea of Grand Party and PvP is you want to reduce your RNG as much as possible, and a 50-50, it's not a good idea in this particular game mode. So the first fight, we are using our slasher team. It's the only one we haven't seen from this particular build so far. And with Shanks and Buggy, obviously we need to use Shanks and Buggy on a team, and the best place to put them is on the slasher team. The downside to using Shanks and Buggy means that we can't use the redhead pirates. Without the redhead pirates, we can't get all the bulk, so I decided to bring Bardo Cavendish as well. Bardo Cavendish are a very, very good defensive unit, and they do a lot of damage. On top of that, they're also a Driven unit, so Driven's getting buffed under the rule set. Driven, Cerebrals, and Slashes are all getting buffs, so but Shanks and Buggy and Bardo Cavendish are getting some significant buffs here. You can do some fun stuff as well if you wanted to with like Cat Viper and Dogstorm. Carrot, Wander, another really good option. You could run them over stuff like K-Dad, but with K-Dad's buff and putting him on the same team as Odin, like, they do exceptional things. Exceptional things. So, Free Spirit, as I mentioned though, they are still incredibly chonky. They are still incredibly tanky, and they basically just don't die. With that Zora revive and like the guard ability and all that sort of stuff, they can do some pretty scary things. But I do find that Whitebeard Roger and the Slashes do have the highest success rate against taking them down. Like, so if you are struggling against Free Spirit teams and you have Whitebeard and Roger, chuck on a Slasher team with some very good Slasher characters, and you should have some pretty good success there. As you can see, this Free Spirit team wasn't like the be-all end-all. I think the Roger and Odin Free Spirit build is just like definitely the way to go. But even in saying that, this fight actually gets very close because they actually use the burst at the back end here. Now, you can see me straight away checking the stats and stuff like that to see like where they're at with their specials. We managed to take out Smoothie, and I'm just thinking at this particular point that I'm pretty confident that we can actually get the win. But then like Zoro's counters just start doing damage, like actual big damage. Look how much damage K-Dad just took from the guard of Zoro, which is nuts. I saw Bardo Cavendish come in, I was like, sweet, I've got this in the bag. Bardo Cavendish didn't hit anyone. At this point, I'm actually starting to stress. I'm like, yo, if King's special goes off, we could easily lose this fight. It could just be an easy wrap. I actually had my hand on the burst ready to go, just in case. But we managed to take him out easy peasy. Save the burst for the next fight, and then we can sort of just go from there. But still, Free Spirits, as you guys saw there, like with the Roger burst, man, like they're something else, and you have to be very, very careful of them. But with Shanks and Buggy, that burst, it gets a little bit less scary. Moving on to the second fight now, it was a Dex build. And against Dex, like I said, we're using Free Spirit because I'm just not in the mood for a mirror match, especially a Dex versus Dex mirror match. Like that's not fun. Nobody wants to see that. That would just be a huge skip fest. So we ain't gonna see that. See how we go here. Dex with Dalton, Pell. It's a pretty good Dex team. Got Kid in the front with the Driven buffs. Luffy with his revive shenanigans. Cat Viper gets buffed because of the Slasher buff as well. But with us, we're pretty much getting all of the same buffs as well. Dex are getting nerfed at the moment. They get level 3 CT reduction, and they get level 6 HP down. So I do understand why a lot of people aren't using them per se, or would say don't use them. But like I said, because Quick's getting so many buffs at the moment, and Driven, especially Quick Driven, that Dex is still an absolute wave. Because when you are offensive against the Quick Driven team, you're a lot better with when you can use your burst. So that's always something to note. So if you are running Dex, you will have some good success there. The next fight actually gets a little bit scary, and this is where I believe that Shanks and Buggy they're good. But, like, I just don't think I would, like, ever really use them per se. Whilst countering Roger is nice, I just still do think the best counter to Roger is just still Roger. And being able to use your burst and put your teams up against particular teams in particular orders, I should say, that can kind of either sacrifice themselves to get yourself a win later, or counter a burst with your burst per se. So Roger's going to use his burst straight away because the AI's in desperation mode. This is where we can just pop our burst straight after that. Now we don't have to worry about any of those half stats. We can say see you later to them. We do get some more fixed damage there. And we can basically just move on with the fight. Like, everyone's stats are absolutely the same. And basically at that point it just guarantees us the win against a Dex team. A Dex team just does not have the damage outputs to be taking down stuff like Free Spirit. So now it's basically just a matter of time until that Luffy Yamato special comes around. And they just mop the floor with literally everyone. So second fight went fairly well. Fairly nice. And Free Spirits, like I said, even under a team that doesn't really give them that many buffs, they're still very, very good to use because Shanks and Buggy boost Sai and Dex as well. So the Roger, the Odin, the Sanji are all getting really, really good buffs from the rule set, and then sorry, not rule set, from Shanks and Buggy, and then you've also got the buffs from the rule set for Roger, Odin, and Zoro as well. This Dex team, man, just won't die. Man, Roger tanks that like crazy. Tanking Pell like that's nuts. Here's that Covenant Luffy's Yamato special we see. Basically just wipes out the entire team. Doflamingo comes in, who's probably the only threat, but at this particular point, like, they've got negative 6 HP. Like, negative 6 HP is not a good, not good to be coming into in Grand Party. And obviously that's because of the rule set, and they lost characters that give them HP. But yeah, just not a fun time for Dolphins to be coming into. So we'll hit him with another burst, see if it gets the kill. Unfortunately, it doesn't. The 2,000 fixed damage is nice, but it's kind of peanuts. But Roger then has enough damage to take them out from there. So second fight in the bag. Shanks and Buggy looking really good so far, like really, really good. But this third fight makes me question things a little bit. All right, so the third fight, obviously another Roger build because like fighting Rogers is the wave, and this is where Sai can be very, very annoying. So second team is a Sai team, first team is a Dex team. So I figured we'd have the Dex team pretty much in the bag. Shouldn't be any issues whatsoever. We'll use our slashes. They can take them down. I don't love using slashes against Dex, but I do think slashes versus Dex is probably better than using Free Spirits against Dex. The fight that we saw before, obviously we used Free Spirits against Dex. But it was still a little bit slow, and I just thought, hey, let's just try and get this done and out of the way a little bit early. And I'm glad that I did, because the final fight was actually a Striker build. That was the hidden one. And Strikers are very unpredictable as well. And obviously they're not getting that many buffs with the season this month, but they're still just a very, very good team. And Whitebeard Roger being on any team is still very scary, especially when you do have stuff like Roger's Burst. But again, we do have Shanks and Buggy here to sort of help us out. And the downside to facing Rogers nowadays is the unpredictability of that final team that is hidden can be so damn scary. And it's something that I do think a lot of people should do in the early stages of Grand Party, is do a lot of testing, or watch people play the game that are doing a lot of testing, so that way you understand what people are using on Roger builds. Because Roger just has so much diversity in so many different team comps now that literally anyone could run anything. And having that sort of those hidden teams can be very, very scary. Now, we do get hit by a Roger burst very early here. And I was looking at 8 to 6, and I thought, hey, let's just get rid of the Roger burst and let's just continue the fight like normal. Obviously, Shanks and Buggy's burst is designed to counter the Roger burst. So we'll definitely just use it to just literally do that. Because if we start getting hit by all of these specials that were coming, like, we could easily have lost some characters, like, very, very easily with the half stats. So, half stats is such a prevalent mechanic in the game, and it's so incredible. As you saw there, like, Luffy still hit us really hard. Like, Shanks and Buggy get hit so damn hard. They're squishy as hell. Like, so goddamn squishy, man. Butter Cavendish should do big damage here. Unfortunately, it only hits Yamato, which kind of sucks. But look, it is what it is. Once we get that K-Dad special coming back around for the defense drop, for that all that damage output, Smoker can do some special binding here. Does he special bind anyone? He might have special binded Luffy. Whitebeard Roger is literally going to kill 2 units here. And at this particular point, it's like, cool, we've got this one in the bag now. Like, no issues whatsoever. We've both got our burst ready to go. Roger is going to use his burst straight away on the next fight, because that's literally what they do. And at this particular point, I was feeling pretty confident going into the second fight, being a Psy team, because the Psy team, like, I probably should have just put Free Spirits against it, to be honest. Psy can just go 50-50, and I knew that there was a Roger burst coming straight off the bat, so having my burst ready to go to sort of negate that was going to be the absolute plan. However, this particular Psy fight, I'm pretty sure I actually need to watch it back properly, because they kill so many of our units so early. So there's the Roger burst. We're going to use our burst now to cancel those half stats. He does more fixed damage than we do. However, against Psy, as you guys saw there, we got the defense drop, which is very, very good for us. That level 10 defense drop, that level 10 speed drop, I think it is as well, should be very, very valuable. However, I honestly don't know what happens on this particular run, because we get a huge defense drop there with Rebecca Toy Soldier. And then Yamato, I think, does she halve? She only half stats Blackbeard. Now, straight away, Blackbeard got the revive off, so now our revive is gone. And I don't know what happens here, but we lose so many units early. So Odin comes in, Blackbeard and Pell die there, which is just nuts. We get action binded on Doflamingo, which shouldn't be that big of an issue. But at this particular point, like, our units got so low that stuff like the fixed damage of Law just absolutely wiped us. Now, I was using a lot of Powerhouse and Driven characters in the front, so Law was actually nerfing us really, really well. But as you can see there, like, even after we get all of our specials off, we only kill Yamato, and all of their HP stats seem very, very high. So, unfortunately for us, and then Dofi dies there. Like, I don't know what went wrong here. Maybe we just needed to move Dofi into the back and use something like Brook on this particular team, just to make it a little bit more bulky, and then not worry about that extra Nuka on the bench. But usually Dex is, like, fine when it comes to that. But remember, they do have level 6 HP down as well, the level 3 CT down as well. So maybe just not being able to get that bulk off very, very early just cost me there. And really probably should have put Free Spirits there instead. So all in all, we did take an L there. However, we do have our Free Spirit team at the end, which is a very, very good build. However, we came up against Strikers, and when I saw Strikers, I was not happy. The upside to this Striker team is they have Cat Viper on it, and they don't have Kanjuro. If this team had Kanjuro on it, I would have been sweating bullets. Absolutely sweating bullets. So I think the Dex team had a little bit of, like, room to grow there. Even with all the Driven support and stuff like that, maybe using something like Brook, or using someone that wasn't sort of a powerhouse unit because of Law. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have known that if this was day 5, and that's sort of how I would have ran it anyway. And then this particular team goes down to the wire. So we do cop the Roger burst straight away. As you can see, Roger Wiper hit Odin and Roger. So our 2 Psy units, so they're 2 of our strongest units on this team. Not only because they're getting extra buffs with, like, themselves buffing each other, but Buggy and Shanks, Buggy and Shanks are actually giving them the most buffs, being slashes and being Free Spirits. So that works quite nicely. Sanji came in, did kind of peanut damage to poor old Whitebeard Roger there. And I feel like if they had Kanjuro on their team, the fixed damage probably would have killed Odin and Roger. And at this point as well, like, having that special of Luffy Yamato go off that early was, like, it was kind of annoying, because, like, we were only like 10 seconds away. We're still tanking really well though. The Luffy Yamato special went off. I was looking at Tesoro there. Tesoro was ready to go with his fixed damage, so we are going to lose our 2 core Psy characters. We do have Rebecca Toy Soldier come in. Rebecca Toy Soldier is a really, really good option on the bench for this team. They're free spirit with their ability to lower defense and their damage output. It's great. We take out Luffy Yamato there, which was insanely, like, is definitely needed, because if that special came back around, we would have lost a lot of units. The only issue we have now is Wipe It and Roger. But as you can see there, we get a nice cheeky kill with our normal damage. And at this point, I just feel like we're in a really, really good spot for the rest of the fights. Luffy Yamato, once their special comes back around, they are going to do absolute monstrous damage. And thanks to Sanji, they're actually going to bring it around a lot quicker. So Sanji can do some really good damage now because we're at the back end of this particular fight. We're in the 32nd now, so they lose all their defense. Jack is only going to do HP cutting, so I'm not worried about that. Luffy Yamato have their special ready to go, and they just bink the entire team. So there you guys go. That was day 3 with the Roger counter of Shanks and Buggy. A really fun unit, a really, really cool unit, but all in all, their burst is kind of subjective to using when the opposition uses it. So, in my opinion, you kind of lose out on your own burst as well. But if you enjoyed the video, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, let me know your thoughts and opinions of Shanks and Buggy in the comment section below. While you're down there, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, helps me out a great deal. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's